Hi church, I'm glad to be here once again and talking to you this time from the book of Romans chapter 8 verses 37, where it is written, "Yet in all these things we are more than a conqueror through him who loved us." Love that makes us feel more than a conqueror. Love that lifts us from our defeat and to make us stand in the victory of Jesus Christ. And this is something amazing that a Christian could forget everything and can live today in the victory of Jesus Christ, and he can start his life from victory. And something happened before this verse is mentioned in the Bible. When we go to the same chapter and verses 35, Paul is asking the greatest question ever could be asked to a Christian. Paul is asking, who shall separate us from the love of Christ? This is an interesting question and a biggest question for everyone who follow Jesus Christ, who decided to follow Jesus and who accepted Jesus as their personal Lord and Savior. This question could be asked, what thing and who shall separate us from the love of Christ? When I was reading about separation, and a definition comes like, separation is a break or a place where a split happens. And in a Christian life, separation could be seen in many ways. Separation happens in a Christian life, and when separation happens, separation is the biggest defeat for a Christian. Separation is no produce of spiritual fruit or spiritual growth. Separation is like taking a fish out of water. When a believer is separate from Jesus or from the love of God or from the love of Christ, it seems like we are taking a fish out of the water. But when we go on reading the following verses, we find Paul is mentioning 80 things that could be a cause of separation of in the life of a Christian being. Here are something that I mentioned from the very passage that Paul is mentioning. What can and who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall affliction, anguish, persecution, or famine, nakedness, danger, or a sword? Like things Paul is mentioning, who shall separate us from the love of God? Nothing could separate us from the love of God. Above all 18 things, one thing stand against, which is called love. Love has a more power than the 18 things could be a cause of separation of a Christian from the love of Christ. Love is more than a victorious, which stand against every circumstances, every situation which a Christian faced. Love has more power to face any situation which a Christian go through. And above that thing, love is that make us more than a conqueror. A love of God is abide in us. What does actually love do to a Christian? If a Christian is in the love of God, some fruit of love could happen in a Christian life, like love forgives, love sacrifices, love gives another chance, love holds up, and love unites us in the love of God. And the greatest love we could be ever seen through the life of Jesus Christ. When we read 4 of the Gospel and we understand the wonderful love that Jesus is showing through his life, love which accepts sinner and most hated people in the society, love that changes life, love that holds people in unity. And we can be amazed looking the love of Christ throughout his life. How did he show his love on the earth? And we can see if the love is abided in us. What does actually this love do? Because we are in the love, we are accepted, not rejected. We are forgiven, not accused. We shown mercy, not the wrath of God. We are given grace, not we are judged. We are more than a conqueror, than we are defeat. This is the love of God, and this is the love of God to a Christian today. We are more than a conqueror who loved us. Amen.